Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I surprised myself there when I was... Might help to have this actually set up. I surprised myself there with how quickly I came in. So quickly that I didn't even pull this across, which I do before I click the button to go live. So anyway, hello to all of you guys. It's Tuesday night and we are live streaming again. I hope you guys have had a good start to the weekend and that your Monday was good as well. So... right, I can see you guys in the live chat room already. That was Hero, by the way, one of my songs from my album called Persistence, which you can get over on wingspegasus.com/music. Let me skip this advert before it tries to interrupt the live stream instantly. So I'll give you guys a shout out in the live chat room. And in there we have Mimi321, Tracer Jennifer, Kevin, Angela Rose, Hilary Sue, Desert Deluge, Ninja Kitty Bob, PM112, Mo, Billy, Elaine, Jennifer Daisy, Estella, Jonathan, Linda. Hello to all you guys. Good to see you on what is a Tuesday night here in the UK. And I will get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. So a massive shout out to the people who make this all possible, the foundation of everything that I do over on Patreon. Their names go across the bottom of the screen throughout the live streams, as regular viewers will know and would have noticed over the last however many years that I have been live streaming, and these names have been going along the bottom of the screen. And it might be interesting to go back a few years and see how many names indeed there are, because whenever I get a new patron, I add their name to the list at the bottom of the screen, and therefore the list is quite long now, but it's, I think, important to show a little bit of recognition for the people that are allowing this to happen, the live streams and everything that I do. So yeah, another massive thank you to everyone over on Patreon. Let me get the... likes goal up on screen for tonight. We are aiming at 435 if memory serves me correctly, and it means we're going to be having Phil Jam number 282. So everything's so small on my screen, it takes me ages to try and find where we are and what we're doing with the lycometer, which we haven't even got up on screen. So I will get that on screen in a second because it has disappeared at the moment. And let me move that over there, click on this, and we are at 179 likes so far. So keep an eye on that. If you could leave a thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be very much appreciated. If we do hit the target of 435, then we will have Phil Jam number 282. So the Phil Jams have been going for a while, and yeah, we'll have to see if we get anywhere close to that target. I always say that if we get up to 200 quite early on in the live stream, then it's a good sign. So we need another 15 people to hit the thumbs up in order to get ourselves closer to the goal for tonight. So hopefully you can hear me and see me and everything is fine. I think we might have to have a troll corner tonight because I've been responding to a few comments under the videos that I've done recently, and it's more often than not, I say more often than not, it is all happening under the same video that I've done. And I know exactly why people are commenting underneath that particular video and the kinds of comments they're leaving. And I did a video on Sunday just trying to explain or trying to figure out why there's such an emotional reaction to pointing out something that's an objective fact. And I don't know whether I'll ever get to the bottom of that, but the comments have been made along those lines. And it's clearly from people that have never watched my channel before, have seen one video, and don't realise that what I'm saying is objectively, factually correct. That people saying, oh, there wasn't any auto-tune on a particular performance, it's just that's the person's voice. yeah, they'll have to watch a few more of my videos to understand what the human voice can do and what it can't do. But we'll get into Troll Corner, because there have been some humorous examples that people are comparing it with in their defense, you know, saying that, oh, well, it's no different to this and it's no different to that. So we'll jump into that a little bit later on. So look out for that. We are going to be getting on screen the donations tab, but as I always say, you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. So yeah, for those people that can't resist donating, I think it's important they know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, and that should be in the description below. But like I said, you don't have to donate. Just watching is great, and every analysis video that I do is a request, and it's a request that has been sent through over the years, but also to requests@wingsofpegasus.com. So that's another thing to mention about people saying, oh, why do you only look at this or that? Or why haven't you featured this artist or that artist? And again, they don't understand that everything that I do is a requested analysis video. I'm not choosing to, you know, focus on any one particular artist, and viewers of my channel will know that I focus on whatever I'm asked to take a look at, regardless of who the artist is and whether it's something that I might be into, whether it's something that I might not be into. I just treat it all the same, and we go through exactly the same process. So I will quickly jump into the super chat window, because we've had a few donations in there. So thank you for these. By the way, I can see Paul's donated $5.11, and this is a bit of a code for 511,000 subscribers. And Paul says, awesome, let's have fun tonight and spike the likes all y'all. Peace, love, and rock. So thank you for that. Now, one thing that I haven't done is change the number when it appears on screen, so I'll quickly do that now, and as if by magic, it's now saying 511,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone for subscribing, interacting with the content, with the videos, the analysis videos, and hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. It all really does help the channel to grow. Obviously, getting more subscribers is great. We'll keep on pushing forward and see where we end up. But certainly, yeah, a decent audience at the moment and so far, because yeah, we'll keep on going and I'll keep on getting through the requests that I am sent. So thank you everyone for watching and subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell to improve your chances of being notified for a video, but head over to patreon.com/wingsofpegasus and join there as a free member to get notified for all of the videos. So we have another donation from Valhalla, who's donated £5, so thank you for that. And that's a straight up donation. Orlando's donated $2 and says, all aboard the Phil train, choo choo. So thank you for that, Orlando. And Orlando donated again $2 and says, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Phil's channel. So thank you, great idea and great advice there from Orlando. And Paul has donated $2 again, says, please spike those likes. We need a Phil jam. And you might be able to see, you might not be able to see, that I have intentionally plugged in the gem tonight, because a few people are saying, oh, why don't you play the gem anymore and this kind of thing. And it's not as if I've just suddenly stopped playing it for the streams for any particular reason, although when I did pick it up earlier it was horrendously out of tune, and it is locked in tune, but just due to the amount of time that I haven't played it. And the reason that we've always been playing the Strat is just that's the one that has been plugged in, and because I've been really busy lately with literally everything, it means that I'm only picking up this guitar to play during the live streams. So the other guitar that I've got downstairs, my really old Tanglewood Nevada, that I just pick up for practice, you know, just now and again. but whenever I'm playing live on the live streams, it's the only time I'm picking up these guitars, so it's always plugged in, the Strat, because I haven't picked it up since the previous live stream. So yeah, earlier tonight I've plugged in the Gem. I quickly retuned it because it is so far out. Now, as for the strings, what they sound like, they're probably going to sound a bit dead because they're very old. Whether they snap or not, who knows? We'll see what happens later if we hit the target of 435. So yeah, it will be the Gem tonight. Now, was that Orlando donating again? It might be. Orlando's donated $5, so thank you for that. And the message is, there are too many people, fanatics, who feel their heroes can do zero wrong. There's nothing wrong with pointing out the use of autotune or lip syncing. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think I made it clear in my last video, or was it maybe the second to last video, where I had this live stream performance and one of the vocals was the original vocal and the other vocal was the auto-tune vocal. So you could clearly see and hear from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen what auto-tune did to the voice. And in my opinion, I mean, it's not really an opinion, saying that the notes that were hit live in some cases weren't where the auto-tune snapped it to the note. And the singer was really accurate anyway. So when she's really close to a line, of course, auto-tune isn't really doing much there because she was really accurate. But for those where she's quite flat, that's now been put directly over a line. So I think, well, how can you judge a voice? Knowing, I mean, I know, and now people who watch my videos know that auto-tune moves the voice before you even hear it. So you think, well, how can you judge a voice if you're not hearing the voice that is being produced by the singer? And yeah, the people that say, oh, auto-tune is something that people just use. And they, I had a comment earlier where they say that great singers use auto-tune and it's just the same as using other effects, and it's just something that their own personal taste. Some singers like a bit of reverb on their voice, some singers like a bit of auto-tune. And for me, auto-tune is just I'll explain it later, it's just totally not the same thing, because auto-tune is being used by, you won't find singers who have amazing voices using auto-tune themselves, because they're already hitting the notes. It is generally used to make singing easier. And I have compared it to having the sides up on bowling, where I don't know whether you know what I'm talking about, but 10-pin bowling, is it? Are there 10 pins? I don't know how many pins there are. But when, I only used to go bowling as a kid. There'd be a party where you'd all go bowling. And when you're, 6 or 7 years old, they put the sides up, which means that instead of going down the gutter, you're going to definitely hit the pins. You're definitely going to hit them because that's what the sides up does. So when you're singing, if you're going for a note, that's what auto-tune is doing. It's effectively making it easier so that if you're getting close to the note, you don't have to be exact. You can now be, snapped to the line, which I showed in that video of what was going on with this particular person's voice. So, I mean, the way that it has worked with the music industry, obviously the whole point of it being brought in the first place is so that record labels can sign singers who aren't as accurate as other singers but might have a particular image that they want to promote and sell, and then they can tune their voice to hit the notes accurately because the singer can't hit them accurately. So that's how it all started. It wasn't something that great singers were hitting the notes really accurately, and like with Whitney Houston, for example, and the label said, hang on, she's hitting the notes so accurately, we need to invent something that makes her voice even more accurate. Nobody was worried about that. It's always bringing the other voices up to the level of the voices that are already really accurate, and that's just how it started. And I know that people might not be comfortable with that because their favourite singer might use it, and they might see it as just an effect, whereas I've explained it's an affect. It happens before the signal is heard, not after. So yeah, it's difficult to I guess come to terms with it for some people, but knowing the origins of it to begin with, of course, it was more of a novelty because Cher did it in her Believe song in 1998, and I think it's around that time. I think it got invented around 1997, but the first commercial release was in the late 90s with Cher, and everybody was turned on to it and thought, oh wow, that's a really cool sounding effect. But what happened after that is people thought, hang on, if we can tune the voice, how can we use this technology? And then it turned into now being used live, which is live auto-tune as we know it now. So yeah, there's no way really that anyone can say that it was invented for singers who are already really accurate. It's always been the other way around. And, unfortunately, that's just the fact of it. And the stupid thing is, and this is something that I don't agree with, is the industry as it is now. They are taking great singers' voices and auto-tuning them. So this is where you get the contradiction, that it doesn't make any sense as to what's going on. And I said the stupid thing is the comments I get underneath the video where I'm saying that the person's got a great voice, and then they're saying that I'm attacking that particular vocalist. And we'll get into that in Troll Corner a little bit later on, but it's all a little bit crazy and strange as to what's going on in the industry in general, and AI and how all that's playing out. But just this reaction that it causes with people just watching a video or an analysis video that's totally factual. It's nothing to do with attacking one person or another person or particular artist or all that kind of stuff. So anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. Timothy's donated $4.99. Thank you for that, Timothy. And Orlando donated again $2 and says 500,000 plus subscribers blasted. Good. So thank you for that. And the Andre's donated $13.99. Thank you for that. And the message is, would love to see you look at Alison Moyet on the authentic vocal. If it isn't obvious, she's my first female artist. By the way, just got back from the UK a few weeks ago. Went to Sicily with 6 UK mates. So thank you for that. And pretty much from what I've seen from Alison, she's just got a great voice. And I think her voice is one of those that was part of my youth growing up. So just a great vocalist. And to my knowledge, I've never seen anything that, certainly not auto-tuned live, but kind of heavily post-pitch corrected in live performances or anything like that. But thank you for that, Andre. Jennifer's donated $7. Thank you for that in the messages. Phil, today is Veterans Day in the US. So if we don't get as many people, they may be gone to celebrations. Thanks to all the vets. Thanks for everything. So thank you for another donation from Jennifer. $5 says, Phil, dumb question. Do the artists pick out the key a song is sung in, or do the session people or producer? Thanks. So with singer-songwriters, they'll be singing in the key that they want to sing in. As for signed artists, like back in the day, especially in the 60s, you'd have artists and singers who'd be in the studio and they were having songs written for them. And sometimes they were specifically written for the artist, but more often than not, they would have songwriters that they go to and they find a particular song, or the label finds a particular song that they like the sound of, and then they get the singer to sing it. And it might be the case that where it was originally written, the key might have been a little bit too low, and they wanted the singer to push their chest voice a little bit higher. So then they'd transpose the key, maybe a semitone high, maybe a tone high. And this is why you get so many expressive voices, especially back then with Motown. And more often than not, the producers were pushing the voices in the studio, and that wasn't an artistic choice by the singer. It's just something that they knew worked quite well to get the most emotion out of the singer's voices. So, and that obviously then when you come to play live, if you're doing it night after night after night, and the the singer's belted in chest voice for the recording, then it's not going to be particularly good for their vocal cords, and they might end up having to bring it down just because they might lose range because of all that belting and effectively almost kind of shouting at the top of your voice to get that same sound as the album. So yeah, or the single, whatever it might have been released as. So it depends. Singer-songwriters, yeah, they pick it themselves. Session people just play what they're told to play. They're not going to be changing any keys of anything. They'll just, if the key is changed, they'll then play it in the key that they're told to play it in. So yeah, that's generally the way that it works. I think the artists who have a lot of say at a particular record label, which isn't always the case that the artists do get much of a say, but those that are quite popular and well known, they will be able to say to their record label, this is the song and this is the key, and I don't think the record label is going to really mess with that too much. Like with Elton John, for example, they're not going to say to him, oh right, yeah, we like this song, but we want you to do it in this key. I think Elton, I mean, they might have, talking about earlier in his career, they might have been pushing his voice a little bit in the studio, but I think it's something that he would have written on piano and sung at the same time while writing it, and coming up with that melody that kind of sat at the top end of his chest voice when he was a lot younger. Actually, a really good example of where his voice was and where his voice is, or when I say is, I mean kind of more recently over the 5-10 years. If you compare those voices, you've got one that when he used to go up into his kind of head voice, I mean, it sounds a lot cleaner actually at the top end of his chest voice when he was younger, kind of starting out in his career, and then everything got very, very successful with his releases, and his voice has almost a cleaner quality to it, and you can hear maybe a hint of rasp in there, but then as he progressed, like I said, this is something that happens naturally with the voice when you are performing night after night after night and year after year after year. Then yeah, you'll start to get a different sound to your voice. Maybe you lose a little bit of range, but certainly Sir Elton had a much cleaner voice, and then he's now added so much rasp to his voice, and I think that's just a byproduct of belting at the top end of his chest voice. So yeah, anyway, we will move on, because we could talk about lots of different things about age and range and voices, but we will move into the PayPal window because there's been a donation in there, a few donations actually. And first of all, Anita's donated £5, so thank you for that, Anita. I'm just checking that is a straight up donation. Bryony's donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Bryony. And the message is just because. So thank you for that. And Cindy's donated £25. So thank you for that, Cindy. And the message is, hi Phil. I am currently reading a book by Brian Cox on black holes. I think he is an excellent teacher and I like his approach. You haven't mentioned him in a while. Do you still follow him? Thanks. So thank you for that. And I didn't really follow him at any point. I've just seen his documentaries on TV, which I think are very interesting. So yeah, if something pops up that is on TV in the background, well, I think while I'm doing things, it's not the kind of thing you can watch in the background when he's explaining about things. You have to concentrate on it. So I haven't seen anything recently, but yeah, if I do have a bit of spare time and it's on TV, then it's the kind of thing I will watch because I do find it all very interesting. So thank you for that, Cindy. Steve has donated £5. Thank you for that, Steve. And the message is, do you prefer the sound and play of fingers or a pick on a bass guitar? Are there advantages or disadvantages to either method? So thank you for that, Steve. With bass guitar, personally, I mean, I think if I'd spent more time playing bass, then I don't know, I might play more with the fingers rather than a pick. But generally, when I've been doing my cover videos where I have to play bass on those, I will generally go for a pick But I'm thinking about the videos that I'm now seeing myself playing with my fingers. But I think, yeah, if I were to play bass, I'd pick up a pick as a preference, just because that's what I've used mostly on guitar. So then I just go over to the bass. But I know that, you know, bass players will certainly be using their fingers because they've been playing bass a hell of a lot longer than I have. And for me, it's just kind of a means to an end. In order to put a whole song together, you've got to pick up the bass and play the bass in order to have that in there. So it's not something that I've worked on. I've just worked on electric guitar, and yeah, acoustic guitar is what I first started on. But yeah, I'd say that with a pick is obviously easier if you're used to playing with a pick on the guitar and kind of alternate picking and doing all that kind of stuff. The advantages, I'd say, for playing with your fingers, I mean, I guess you don't have to worry too much about direction, pick direction. So when you're playing with a pick, say that you're alternate picking, and there might be this is more for notes following each other quite quickly. It means that your pick has got to be kind of flowing in the right direction to get to the next string. But if you're playing with your fingers, you can have your finger already resting on the string, so you're not really going anywhere. You're just playing that string as and when you need it, because you can, you know, have your first and your second finger resting on two strings at the same time. Whereas with a pick, you have to go from one, and there's a little bit of journey time until you get to the next one. So yeah, that might be an advantage for playing with the fingers. But then again, an advantage of playing with a pick is that you won't need as much technique as playing with the fingers. You can just pick up and start, you know, playing. If you do play the guitar, you can start playing bass, and the notes are going to be all the same. It's just the first or the lowest four strings of your guitar is what you'll be playing on bass guitar. So everything will cross over. So you can start laying down some bass lines. It might not sound amazing, and you might not be able to put together intricate lines, but just to supply a solid bass line to whatever song you might be playing, certainly, picking up a pick is the simplest way to go. But thank you for that, Steve. And Catherine has donated £10, and thank you for this, Catherine. And it is a straight up donation. Orlando's donated £5, so thank you for that. And the message is, in your song Hero, you hear that double guitar solo sound. It sounds like two guitars playing at once. Bands like Scorpions, Dokken and Europe are famous for it. Are there pedals or amps which help produce that sound? Is it normally done with two guitars? And I'm going to have to think about which part you're referring to. Oh, so there's a little bit of a harmony line in the solo. So it's not really like playing a full solo with the other guitar playing a harmony line, all the way through the solo. So yeah, it's not something that I've done. I don't tend to do that, have kind of lots of guitars that are, harmonizing with each other. I just might throw in a little harmony line now and again. And that's, of course, part of the recording and something that's done in the studio, because playing those two lines at the same time live, that's where you'd have another guitarist who plays that second part with your lead guitar. And that's why I think it's great to have three guitars on stage, so that you can have the solo, you can have the other guitarist providing any harmony lines, and then another guitarist performing the rhythm. So it means that all of the things that you do on the studio recording are now possible for live, or at least in my case they are. So as for pedals, I've never used pedals to harmonize with my guitar, but there are harmonizer pedals that you can get. But for me, I just, like I said, just kind of dot them in and out, and it's not something that I'm not trying to be Scorpions or Dokken or Europe, or bands that are known for that particular sound. So thank you for that, Orlando. I know that other bands, of course, do the same thing. It's a very common thing to have harmony lines on your guitar being played at the same time. So thank you for that. And Lisa W's donated £7.28. So thank you for that. The message is, hi Phil, congratulations on 511,000 subs. Awesome growth. Well deserved. So thank you for that, Lisa. And yeah, it is pretty cool. But as I said before, it's just a number. It's an amazing number. It's just a number that we will keep on going, and we'll see where that number goes to. But yeah, certainly getting over 500,000 is a bit crazy. And yeah, it is crazy when I think about that number. But I just don't really think about it too much. Anyway, we will jump into the super chat window again. We've had, I think, a couple more donations. And it is Orlando who's donated $5. So thank you for this. And the message is, stick with sheet music if you want to get paid. I imagine that is what it is like as a session musician. So thank you for that. And that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Is you're always going to be playing something by somebody else. And yeah, you'll get paid for it. And I think this is where musicians who have studied and who might go to college, like music college, and they're all doing it as a means to an end of being a session musician and getting paid for playing. But it does mean that you are getting paid to play other people's music. So it's something that artistically you have to ask yourself the question, do I want to go my own way and just play my own songs, come up with my own solos and then try and sell that? Or do I want to play something that is by somebody who is writing their own music and selling their own music, and I'm just doing a job for them? And that's what it comes down to, really. And unfortunately, if you are going to go it alone and want to do your own thing, then yeah, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get paid for that. You're going to have to work really hard to get your music out there. But if you do manage to get your music out there and start making decent sales, then you are now in charge. You're now the boss. So you don't have to worry about, sounding a particular way or doing one thing or doing the other thing, because you're now in charge. And yeah, you're not employed. And that's the thing with being a session musician. There's even the chance that you could say, right, I'm going to be a session musician because I want to make money. And then you can be a session musician, and guess what? You don't get hired, or labels keep going to the same session musicians that they use. So getting a foot in the door is almost impossible, and you have to start doing exactly what you would have been doing as an independent artist, of promoting yourself and trying to get your foot in multiple doors. But now you're having to do that as a session musician. So yeah, it's very difficult. It's not guaranteed. There aren't millions of free spaces of people looking for session musicians. It is a very competitive marketplace, and if a record label finds a session musician or a group of session musicians that are very good at what they do and can produce what the label want them to produce, they'll keep on going back to those session musicians. It's like, back in the day, you'd have multiple groups of session musicians that are on, loads of different recordings, because they were the talent and they were reliable. So you can imagine trying to break into that as another session musician. You say, oh yeah, I know that you're using the cutting crew, for example, but I can do that as well, so can you give me a chance? And they'll say, well, no, because we had these session musicians and they played a song, they performed it, and it was a hit. They then played on another song, and that was a hit. They then played on another song, and then that was a hit. So this is the problem, that if you've got a set of musicians who, with their playing, are producing hits, the record label aren't going to go to anyone else. And it's going to be the same now, that you might have a group of people, or just singular musicians who are doing that job for record labels. So it's very difficult to get your foot in the door. And the only session work that I've done was literally because of somebody that contacted me who'd heard my music and was wanting me to, play a bit of guitar on different demos and provide vocals for demos that would then, they're like songs that then go to record labels for then artists to listen to. And generally what you'll have, or in my case, these songs are like demos, they're ideas and very much an outline of a song, but it's got a really rough vocal on there and it doesn't sound very professional, and maybe the guitar's a little bit ropey. It isn't somebody who's been playing for a long time, but they've got the outline of the track, and this would be maybe the songwriter who's put this together. So then the songwriter then comes to me and says, oh, can you put a vocal on this, with all the same lyrics? Can you play the guitar as well? So because they might already have got a drum track to it and all that kind of stuff. So basically, long story short, it means that when the record label and the artist are listening to a song that might be something that they want to have on their album and then do a version of it, they need to hear something that sounds relatively professional, where the singer's hitting the right notes and the harmonies are effective and accurate, so that they can get an appreciation of the song for how it will sound, and then they decide to do their own version of it. So that, that's the only involvement I've had doing kind of session work. Is not something that I've had to fight for to get my foot in the door. It's somebody that already heard me and then asked me to do it. So obviously that's probably never going to happen if you're a session musician, that somebody comes to you. You've got to get out there and try and sell yourself, especially if that is how you're making your money. Because for me, that was just an extra side thing that I could do, like a side project that I might make a bit of money doing, but it wasn't my music, and it wasn't my album and the stuff that I was doing, because that was my main focus. That was where people were ordering my album on my website and downloading songs on iTunes and Amazon, and those are the two places that I have my music. And I had it on Spotify about 10 years ago, and then removed it because I think everyone's now cottoning on to Spotify and what it's all about, things that I've been saying for about 10 years. But that's the only time that I've done that kind of thing. But it's great to be asked to do that kind of thing, but certainly not my focus. I made that decision to go independent and do my own music, and that other thing it was just a bonus on the side. But if you're looking to do it full time, it's definitely not a done deal that you're going to make a lot of money from it, being a session musician. So anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. Angela's donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Angela. And the message is, Phil, thank you for plugging in the gem. It's my favourite guitar of yours and I love its sound. You're the best. So thank you for that. Kyrie Layson has donated $5. Let's not get into all of that again. Laugh out loud. It is just a great number. Laugh out loud. Go Phil, you are amazing. People want to watch you. Good stuff. And Sue's donated $19.99. So thank you for that, Sue. And the message is, we're falling behind on the likes goal. Time to spike. So thank you for that, Sue. And yes. We haven't done any maths for today. So it's going to be 122 more people required to bust out the gem and have Phil Jam number 282. And wouldn't this just be typical? That the one time I plug in the gem that we don't actually hit the target and we don't have a Phil Jam. So we'll see. If you could hit that thumbs up, it'll be very much appreciated. And we'll have to keep an eye on it. We've still got a bit of a ways to go. So calling all viewers in the live chat room, if you could hit that thumbs up, that would be great. And then we'll bust out the guitar, have a jam and see what happens. Right. Over in the PayPal window, Ed has donated £20. Thank you for that. And the message is, why do most male singers lose their voice when they get older, while female singers seem to keep theirs? So thank you for that, Ed. And this, it depends really on the style of music, but generally what happens is, with women, they're not as predominantly chest voice orientated. So when women talk, they more often than not in a head voice place, whereas when guys talk, we're in a chest voice place. So we are, when we're then singing, if we're taking our voice higher, a lot of guys, when they get to the top end of their chest voice, that's going to be where you're belting. So it's using your talking register and taking it really high. Basically where you talk normally in your chest voice, taking your chest voice up high. And the higher you take chest voice without handing any of it off to head voice, that's then going to start placing a huge demand on your vocal cords. So the great singers out there, they take their chest voice up and start to mix it with head voice, and they do it in such a way that they maintain the tone, and you're not aware of them now being in a mixed voice but thinking they're in a chest voice. So you think, oh wow, they're belting a B4 or a C5, but in reality they're actually in a mixed voice place. It's a lot lighter than it sounds. It's like a vocal illusion and an audio illusion that's going on. But there are some singers like John Bon Jovi, for example, who I'll be doing a video on actually. I was going to say very soon, but I know it's going to be tomorrow night because I've been asked a lot about John's voice and his vocal surgery and all that kind of stuff. But you've got somebody like John who was young, when he became successful, and because he was in so much demand, he didn't have an opportunity to train his voice. And when you're looking at great singers, some singers, like the 1 in a billion singers, have just perfect technique because they've started singing from a young age and they've just got perfect airflow and do hand it off to head voice and have that sound like it's a lot heavier than it is, when in fact, it's not very heavy at all. And they can maintain that voice for the majority of their career, if not their life. But anyway, back to this. The reason that male singers lose their voice is because they've got a tendency to belt in chest voice, whereas women have a tendency to sing in head voice. Now, if you're talking about different styles of music, a singer that I just thought of is Miley Cyrus, where she used to have a lot cleaner sound to her voice and maybe more range as she kind of went up into that lighter head voice sound when she was a little bit more pop or a little bit more Disney. Did she come from the Disney thing channel? I seem to remember that she was in a show. But anyway, coming from that background and having those pop orientated songs, then getting into now her heavier sound and being more influenced by rock music and hard rock, and maybe leaning into her chest voice a bit more, it means that it's got more rasp on there, but also that kind of belty chest sound might negatively affect the voice, where you'll start getting more rasp. And I'm trying to think of her voice in interviews, because I seem to remember seeing an interview with her where her voice sounded a lot kind of raspier and deeper just while she was talking compared to then when she was younger and singing more in that head voice kind of place. So it is the style of music, but I'd say that that's the exception to the female rule. It is that the female vocalists who do sing heavy and aren't using perfect airflow and handing it off to head voice and balancing the sound and doing all those things that takes years to master. The singers that aren't doing that, they might have that drop in range. But for guys, it's happened with loads of male vocalists just belting in chest voice. And it might have been the case that when they're singing in chest voice, they get to a point where they could make it lighter, but that sound just won't cut it. If the vocalist started, really taking the foot off the accelerator, you hear that, and then people think, oh, why are they singing that, G4 or A4 so lightly compared to the studio recording? And doing that will save their voice and give it longevity, but singers sometimes don't want to do that. They want to just go fully for it and kind of belt in chest voice, and that's why unfortunately it can damage the voice, especially with young singers, like I said, with John Bon Jovi having that success at a young age and not having had the advantage of training his voice. So he's literally doing night after night after night after night, kind of belting it out as he's doing in the studio, which is a very difficult thing to do, and can damage your voice. And unfortunately he's damaged his voice in the past, but he's now getting back out on tour. So I'm going to be explaining all about that tomorrow night in the video, so look out for that one. But thank you for that. Karen's donated £3.64. Thank you for that, Karen. And the message is, speaking of the Scorpions, I once had to help Klaus get into his hotel room. He couldn't figure out the card key. Laugh out loud. So thank you for that, Karen. And those things are annoying at the best of times, so I can understand that. And Orlando donated $2 and says spike the likes with lots of thumbs up. So great idea. 348. So we need a few more people to hit the thumbs up to get to our target of 435. Now, I'm just checking at the top of the live chat room. The cover video, it says Hero has 50% of the vote. And last time we had a 50-50 vote, which has only happened twice, and it's really close tonight as well. So we will see. What is it between tonight? It's between Hero and Sweet Emotion, is it? So it's close. Whichever one of those you want to hear. The Hero cover from the Spider-Man movie, or Sweet Emotion, of course, Aerosmith, and that's myself and Chris Law with our version of that. So you can click on that. Right, now I think we are up to date with everything. We might, I'm going to say we might jump into Troll Corner, but I'm going to have to be really quick because I can see it's just approaching 5 to midnight here. So let's jump into there and see what's happening tonight. And I'll see you guys in a second.
Oh, hello.
So really quickly, the first one I've got to mention is this person said about auto-tune that it's the same as other effects, and he said, and this is why I think people haven't watched my channel, because they say imagine a guitarist who's using reverb and delay on his guitar sound. Nobody has a go about that, but it's the same thing, and they obviously don't know that I'm a guitarist, and that I've explained many times that auto-tune and live auto-tune is a pre-signal effect, and the signal is when the voice is being heard, you're hearing a signal, and in this case it's a voice that you're hearing, but the voice that you're hearing hasn't come out yet because the signal is being adjusted before we hear it. So it means that the effect is an affect, but everyone calls it effect. And again, it's the only effect that people refer to when it is actually an affect. It's happened before. It's not being added to the voice. It's changing the voice into something else. It's replacing the voice. So I've tried to explain that. They're saying it's not the same as all the other effects. I've done this in multiple videos. I've explained and even done a diagram of showing how when you change the signal and the input before you hear it, that is different. That's not having a signal and then adding something to it, such as delay and reverb, which embellishes the sound. Those effects embellish the sound, they don't replace the sound. And I tried to explain to this person that in order for it to be the same with somebody playing the guitar, they would have to be playing a C4 on their fretboard, and the note that comes out of the speaker is now a D4. It's now been changed. Your finger's not playing that, but that's what the audience is hearing. And this note might have been the wrong note. So the audience are hearing the right note, even though you've played it incorrectly. So that is what the guitar playing version of auto-tune is. It means that you're now not playing what people are hearing. With auto-tune, you haven't sung what the audience are hearing. But I don't know. I don't know how people can't understand this, that it's before the signal. that you're not hearing the actual voice that's produced. So, yeah, that was one of them. And another point that they made, which was really funny, they said, so what if a woman's wearing makeup? That's exactly the same thing. And I tried to explain that a woman wearing makeup, if for that to be the same thing as auto-tune, i.e. changing the voice before you hear it, it means that her face has to change. You have to change her skull, the bone structure of her skull and her face for it to be the same, because you're not having someone's face and applying makeup to it, like having a vocal and applying reverb to it. You're replacing the vocal, therefore you're replacing the face. So it would be the same as somebody putting a different head on and now they look different because that wasn't their face to begin with. But again, they couldn't understand that. Their reply was, oh, so you're saying that a woman's now got to tell you whether she's got makeup on or not. And then I'm giving up now. Now, I'm not going to do any more replies. But I said, no, you don't. She doesn't have to tell you that she's got makeup on because she's got a face and she's embellishing the face that she already has. She's not replacing the face that she has. So, yeah, it's very difficult when people that try to compare it to other things and they're still wrong with what they're saying, that they can't seem to get it. And yeah, finally for Troll Corner, this person who was saying that you only seem to focus on Western artists, and anyone that's not a Western artist you attack. And they used the word that I was attacking artists who might be using auto-tune or might not be Western artists. And I did say to them, every video is requested, and I'm not attacking anyone. I'm pointing out exactly the same thing about whichever artist or band or performance that I'm looking at. And to take one of my videos as an attack on an artist, in the video that they were commenting on, I didn't even name any of them. So how am I attacking any particular artist? I'm just stating an objective fact about what we're seeing. And I think this is the problem, that I know that there's so many other channels, the reaction channels as well, who kind of jump on the bandwagon of, especially if it's a really popular performance that happens to be the flavour of the month, and they jump on the bandwagon of saying how amazing it is because they know that this particular band or artist have millions of, I mean, maybe even billions, but millions of fans worldwide who all will obviously worship the band and say, oh, what an amazing performance. So if you're like a reaction channel and you're looking to build a following, what do? You don't say what is actually going on, and they won't know what's actually going on, but you just preach to the converted. You say, oh, millions of fans watch my video because I'm also saying it's good, and therefore you can enjoy what I'm saying because I'm just preaching to you because you already think it's great, and I'm going to tell you that I think it's great. So from that, yeah, you might get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you might get loads of likes, you might get people to support you on other things that you do on other pages. You might be on Instagram and get more people following there, because that's a proven method of appealing to a huge fan base. What you don't want to do probably is what I do on my channel, which is look at everything objectively, irrespective of who it is and how large the fan bases are, and just say what's going on, because I'm just going to point out exactly what's happening in a particular performance. And yeah, there might be millions of fans of a particular band or artist who don't like what I'm saying, but it doesn't change the fact that it is an objective fact of what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, it's great that we're at 511,000 subscribers given what I'm doing, but I think that's because there are a lot of people out there who respect just, giving information objectively, and they want to have that choice and that knowledge of knowing exactly what's going on, so then they can decide what they want to invest their time into listening to. So as I said in that previous video, it's all about just giving people the option of knowing what's happening so that they can then apply their own ideals and taste and what they do rank highly in things that they like. If they like a natural voice and something that they're listening to is auto-tuned, then they might not listen to it, or they might rank something higher in their own personal taste way. It's all subjective, but I think everyone deserves to know exactly what's going on and what they're listening to, and I would just point that out. And yeah, I'm never attacking anyone. I'm never even saying that somebody can't sing, or they're tone deaf, so this is why they're using this, or this is why they're miming or doing this, that, or the other. I'm just pointing out exactly what's going on. So anyway, there we have it. Let's get out of Troll Corner, and I'll see you out of here for the cover video in a second. Rock.
Bye-bye.
So just having a quick look over, we have flipped over to Sweet Emotion from Hero, and I'm just checking that is correct. Yes, Sweet Emotion 51% of the vote, and Hero 49. So we will be jumping into that, myself and Chris Law, with our version of the Aerosmith classic, and looking at the Phil Jam goal for tonight of 435. I'm not sure we're going to make it. We need one hell of a spike of the likes before the end of the live stream, and we've got about 12 minutes left. And tonight I'm going to have to finish more on time, because last time we went way over, and the moderators that are in the live chat room and doing their job there, obviously that's like 10 minutes longer than they are employed for. So yeah, I'm going to make sure that we finish exactly on time tonight. So we do have 12 minutes to get, however, 51 more likes. Is that it? I don't know if that is correct, but that's the number that popped into my head. Anyway, let's jump into myself and Chris Law's version of the Aerosmith classic. I'm just noticing that I haven't set this up, so I'm going to have to try and find it. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, I've got it. Right, I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you after. Rock!
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there we have it. That was myself and Chris Law. And for those of you who haven't watched my channel for any length of time, Chris was in my first ever original band. And yeah, he was the singer because I couldn't sing at that point, and then I kind of learned to sing later on. But it was cool to get together with him and do that particular video. And that was a cover video that we were going around and just doing that occasionally, like a few times at open mic nights. So we knew it really well. So I said, oh, why don't we just make a video of kind of doing the song that we already knew really well, and it is kind of very easy to put together. So that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, I can see that we're looking for, 29 more people to hit the thumbs up. And we've got 8 minutes left. Now, the problem is the filled jam for tonight, it's 7 minutes and 26 seconds. So it means that we would literally have to hit the target now in order to fit it in before the end of the live stream. So I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Let me just jump into the super chat window because Diamond Girl donated $5. Thank you for that. The message is, hi Phil, what is the t-shirt tonight? Inquiring minds would like to know. Tonight's t-shirt is Back to the Future. So there you go. It's obviously getting a little bit colder here in the UK. So yeah, it's hoodie time, and it's I don't know how cold it's going to get this year, but it's around, I don't know, maybe 10 degrees down to 6 degrees sometimes. This is Celsius, and yeah, during the day maybe 14 degrees, so not too bad. But yeah, it's definitely hoodie weather outside, if not hoodie and coat. So thank you for that. Orlando's donated $2 and said, just giving a second thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. So thank you for that. And yeah, it looks like we're still looking for 28. Is that more? Maybe 28 more likes. And it's going to have to be really quick, a really quick spike of the likes in order to have a filled jam. If any of you haven't hit the thumbs up in the live chat room, that would be very much appreciated. I can see people are doing double clicks. So frantically clicking the like button, make sure you only click it once, because you can do a double click, which means it adds and then takes away straight away. So yeah, right. Now I think we might have to just admit defeat because we've only got 6 minutes left. So what we'll do is maybe finish up with a fill tune, and we'll see which one of those you want to watch for the end of the live stream tonight. So I'll look into the live chat room, and the first one that I see we will jump into. We've got the fireworks one. I think it's going to be too long, but the Guffest, the Italian, and the library, and the bassist. So I'm going to look for that in the live chat room, and let's see. Joe says library, of course. I think that's Joe's favourite one. So we'll jump into this just to finish off tonight's live stream, and I'll see you after. Rock!
Guys, I'm so excited. I have just managed to get us an awesome gig.
Well, I do hope our definition of awesome coincide.
Well, I know a guy who works at a pub and he said we can play there this Friday night.
You know a guy. So far, to be honest, I'm on the fence about this gig. Persuade me. Where is the venue? Will I have heard of it?
The pub is called the Golden Guff. It is in Surrey. My friend has told me it will be amazing. We need this gig.
Well, it certainly sounds like a reputable joint. It's about an hour's drive, but I'm going to trust you on this. Let's book the gig.
We won't regret it. The place will be packed. I can't wait.
Wowzers, this pub really looks like a library. Hello there. Do you work here?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do need help. Thanks for asking. We are the band who are playing here this evening. What is the plan?
Are you sure there is live music tonight?
Well, I ruddy hope so. If not, my bandmate has yet again stitched me up, as well as himself. So, who is in charge?
I am the only person working here tonight.
Well, at least we know, therefore it will not be busy tonight. Great. Where is the stage, and we'll start to set up?
Well, whenever someone has played an acoustic guitar, they have been sitting here, so you can play in this area.
Oh my guff heck of frig. You may actually notice there are tables and sofas in the way, not to mention just being a woeful position for music.
I'm afraid you'll have to move the table and sofas out of the way then.
Well, as I'm a musician and I want to play, I will do this manual labor in addition to the hour's drive. I also assume we are not getting paid for this gig.
That is correct.
At least you're holding up your end of the bargain. Well, let's get to work, guys. These sofas look like the heaviest sofas we will ever lift in our lives.
I'll leave you to it, and I'll make sure that if you need anything, I will be impossible to find.
Many thanks for following standard protocol. Great job, guys. It only took an hour and I think I've got a hernia. But I'm sure it will all be totally worth it and not a gig we should have declined. Just the person I was looking for. So, where is the PA? Is it quite heavy to lift? And also, how many channels does your mixer have?
We don't have a PA here.
Ha 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 ha. That was a fantastically great joke. Wasn't it? Or should I say, it better have been.
No, what you see is what we have.
That, I'm afraid, is sweet guffaw. Well, what do you usually do on live music nights then?
Jacob usually does all the band stuff. He's not here today, but I have his number if you want to talk to him.
That might be an idea. At least every last detail of this gig has been meticulously planned by the venue, otherwise we could all look like absolute total amateurs. Hello Jacob, I'm Phil from the band that are playing at your pub tonight. Where is the PA? And the mixer? For the gig? Okay, so it's in your car. And you are in your car at the moment. And you're 5 hours drive away. Do you think this may be an issue? Considering we're playing in 45 minutes, you didn't realize what the time was? Oh well, that is a very acceptable excuse. I mean, how could anyone ever have foreseen these unlikely turn of events? Unbelievable. So here is the situation. The PA is 5 hours away. We have 45 minutes until we start. So this venue has quite truly rogered our collective bums in the guff.
Oh dear. I can't help feeling partially responsible for us being in this position.
Yes, I wonder why that is.
Just so you know, your friends and family are also just starting to arrive. They must have made the hour-long drive to support you.
Oh. Great. Well, as ridiculous as this sounds, I have purchased my own PA, so that if a music venue is retarded enough to not have any equipment, I have everything. It just so happens it's in my sister's boyfriend's van, who should be here shortly. So, it seems that you as a collective venue won't have egg on your face. You jammy dodgers.
I don't understand.
Oh, just that to the innocent onlooker, you'll look like you have a great PA system and are a great live music venue, when in fact you are actually a total load of rubbish guff venue. With no idea, and couldn't organize a piss-up in a brewery. Present location accepted. No offense.
None taken.
You are seriously mentally vacant. I'm going to slag off this pub to my family now. Bye.
And there we have it. That was the Phil tune or real life story for tonight. And we're going to be calling things to a close. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And if you're watching this in the future on catch up, you can hit the thumbs up. It really does help this live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. So look out for tomorrow night's video. I'm going to be here with another live stream, of course, on Saturday night. So if you can join me then, that would be great, because we will be aiming for another likes goal. And I'll leave the gem plugged in, and we'll see if we can get to have Phil Jam number 282 on Saturday. We will see. But all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys at the next analysis video, which is tomorrow night. So I'll see you then. Rock